So when we talk about first things first and we talk about kind of early warning, what we're describing here, folks, is this idea of this kind of the first notification that you're going to get that something is kind of coming out or something could come out. And we often describe this is most commonly seen as a prior information notice or a PIN, the first of the kind of acronyms, abbreviations we're going to talk about today. So using kind of Contracts Finder here, which I've got a screenshot on the right hand side here, you can search for these kind of things. If you search for kind of like the kind of early engagement, future opportunity type things, this is that very, very, very early warning that something is going to happen. So early warning of an upcoming procurement. Contracting authorities sometimes use these as a warm-up to a supplier engagement event. So you might get see a pin that says, kind of come and see us to talk about X, that kind of thing. We'll talk more about that in a second. There is no commitment to spend at all. So sometimes a pin will come on Contracts Finder. It will be something where it tells you about something that might happen. The event goes ahead. Nothing really happens out of it. The contracting authority decide that they don't want to buy it. That's absolutely fine. There is absolutely no commitment to spend at this stage in the process, but it's all about warming up the marketplace. Pipeline and the visibility pipeline is one of the key kind of factors for improvements over recent years of kind of public sector kind of organizations. So for those of you who've done a bit of a kind of procurement for your own organizations, sometimes used to gather supply data similar to a request for information. So you might use the expression RFI in your own organizations where you're going out and just finding out what people can do in the marketplace. Whilst a PIN isn't exactly an RFI, there are similarities on it, and it's all about kind of just gathering kind of information, gathering data, trying to find out what's available in the kind of marketplace. And these things are often quite vague. In fact, they're often very vague, in fact. So if we start with this early engagement future opportunity, which is the language that the kind of Contracts Finder website uses, and you'll notice I'm searching there for NHS and all locations. So obviously these are geographically kind of linked, regional, postcode, that kind of thing. But if you just want to go kind of national, look for national opportunities, start with that kind of all locations box. So what I've done here is I've kind of taken a kind of based this on a real life thing, but tweaked it around a little bit, okay, to give you an example of what these kind of things can look like. So when we talk about kind of a potential opportunity here, we've got this thing which is called category management in the NHS future options put together by NHS supply chain. So what this effectively says is it says we've got a kind of, suppliers can express their interest in accordance with the information provided, etc., etc. It's a future opportunity, so it's something that the department, the organisation is thinking about doing. It tells you when it's looking to approach the market, 1st of July 2022. It's any region, it's worth 500k, and the publication date for this kind of pin is 18th of February. Okay, so that's a kind of the very, very high level things. Now, when you click into the detail, and again, don't worry, I know this is very small, guys. Reading the detail isn't important for this. It's just understanding to get a flavour of what's actually in there. I'll talk you through some key features. So kind of pins often talk about a bit of context. So good procurement organisations in the public sector starts by setting the scene for you, telling you who the contracting authority is, what their role is in the world. I worked for 4 years as the Director of Procurement at Yorkshire Ambulance Service, and we used to always start by saying, we are Yorkshire Ambulance Service. We cover a population of 5 million people across 5,000 square miles. We provide urgent and emergency care services. If you are interested in being part of our kind of sort of our family to help us do this, kind of keep reading. That's the kind of language that you might see at the start of these kind of things. So in this case, it tells you about that staggeringly large number in terms of pounds that the NHS kind of spends on stuff. So it's kind of big stuff here, so big picture kind of context things. These pins often include a section around kind of what I would describe as the current plan. So it tells you what they're thinking about doing. So we're doing this over the next 12 to 18 months, kind of we're looking for probably one supplier, maybe two suppliers. We're not sure at this stage. We're trying to understand what's available in the marketplace. So something about the kind of current plan. And then you're going to have something else here about the size of this thing. So, is this a kind of a £1 million contract? Is it a 500k contract? Is it looking at a particular area of spend in this case, because it's about category management implementation? It's looking at kind of like about a £4 million area, and actually what's it going to do to actually kind of address this? So actually what they're going to spend to address this kind of thing. And again, you'll get some clues here. Going back to what I was saying a few minutes ago, this is all kind of just speculative at this stage. So it's all kind of vague about your figures in the region of your circa, that kind of approximately sort of language here. And then the kind of the most important thing really is what you've got to do. What do you need to do? If you are interested in this, you can potentially do nothing. You don't have to do anything. But what you would say is, if you were interested in doing it, usually there's a link, there's something where it talks about expressing interest, or if you might be interested in learning more about this, please click here. Or there is a town hall event that is happening on this date. Please kind of sign up on the portal here if you'd like to attend these kind of things. So that's all kind of there. So again, very, very high level, very big picture, but usually with a specific thing at the end of what you've got to do if you are interested. And like I said, this is kind of based on a kind of real life example that I've kind of fiddled around with a bit. So your kind of no-go decision here is a very, very soft one. It's a very loose decision. And really what you're looking at is, yes, then you can express interest, so you can actually just kind of say, yes, I am interested in this. And again, there is no commitment. That doesn't mean to say that you are committed to bidding for that. You're just saying, yes, please keep me informed. I'd quite like to come to the event. When is it? Where is it? Etc. If that information hasn't been included in the pin, it most likely will be, but it might not be if it's not available. But again, they're trying to get a feel for what's in the kind of marketplace there. Does anybody have any questions in the chat they want to stick in the chat window? Anything that's kind of come up there while I've been talking? I appreciate that's just the first very tip of the iceberg kind of piece.
So we've been chatting about what portals there are on the chat also, and I've popped the Contracts Finder web address into the chat function. I'll also put the Finder Tender Service web address in there for everyone as well, but no questions at this point, Mike.
Fantastic, thanks, Jill. I think I've just seen something from Abby that just come in literally as you said that says, how do we express yes?
Yes.
On the chat window. So yeah, literally just as you were speaking. Thank you.
And yes to the slides. They will all be available on YouTube and after to everybody as well.
Yeah, good stuff. So thank you, Jill. So in answer to Abby's question, they're around kind of like, how do we express yes? So there will be a line in that last box that says, if you are interested, click on here and express interest. And that kind of depends a little bit on which portal is being used, but usually it's just a case of go here, click this, say, yes, I'm interested in finding out more, tick the box kind of thing. So it's that level of stuff. You do have to do something, so it won't automatically know that you're so if you click on that link, that won't immediately just tick you through. It will take you to whatever e-tendering system their contracting authority uses, and it will say to you, this is how you express interest. So it's usually very, very simple. What I would say as well is most of the time these pins, Abby, will have kind of like kind of a contact detail on there. So they'll have maybe like the email address of the buyer or a generic email address. If you find that you're struggling with the portal, and actually I've done this myself as a practitioner, is I've actually reached out to the buyer and says, I can't seem to get this link to work. I don't understand why. So yeah, it's one of those things where you can kind of do that kind of piece, and that might just help close that particular gap. And I've just seen Jill's response there as well, which is great. Okay, I'm going to move us on.